All right, welcome to the Iken podcast. I'm Carl here with my brother Brian. Brian, how are you tonight?
I am excited. Football season is here. It is my Christmas when the football season starts. I mean, favorite sport, grew up, first sport I played as a kid. So to me, football is great. And as a Jet fan, excited with the season coming up. So like to me, this is just oh. And the Jets brought back the legacy jerseys, the old logo right there. They brought it back for this game, and this game is going to be the first time they showcase this. They have it for 2 games this season. Buffalo on Monday night is the game they're going to showcase it. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's Thursday night right here. I got you see me looking away. I'm watching the KC in Detroit. Detroit with an early lead right now, which is nice to see because I'm not a big Mahomes fan, and the more the KC loses, the better the shot for the Jets. That's the way I look at
Oh,
it.
my buddy Rhino is not going to like you for that because he's a big KC fan. Come on now.
We were
He
gonna
makes
have
it.
we tried to get my son on this podcast tonight. He's a huge Jets fan, but he's off at college doing college stuff. He's in intramural volleyball or something. I'm like, okay, whatever. I guess volleyball is more important than talking with his father and his uncle about the Jets.
Meanwhile, he'll text about it every so often.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he's playing with his girlfriend and his buddy's girlfriend, so I don't think he could blow that off. So
Ah, okay. A menage a trois.
yeah, and then we gotta keep talking about getting our sister on here, but she's out there on the West Coast, so the timing doesn't always work. But we'll work out a late night East Coast time for her to get on here and yell at us about, well, specifically yell at me about soccer.
I get. Did she have something to say about it when we were talking about it? You said I don't like soccer or
I
anything
said,
like
yeah, I
that.
don't like soccer and how they're the biggest babies. I posted one of the clips on Facebook and she made a comment, and so that's
Well,
all
I think
right.
when I visited her last, she was mentioning she was into the Timbers a little bit, which is their I think it's their soccer team in Portland, the MLS team. So I think she said she was into that a little bit because they don't really have many major sports. So it was nice to see that she was into something.
Yeah, I mean, well, soccer is soccer, and there's a lot of people around the world that love it, and I just happen to be one of the people that think it's the most boring sport in the world. Don't get me wrong, I'll watch the World Cup. I'll watch highlights of Messi, especially since where he plays is literally right down the road from where I work. But I only watch highlights, so you'll never catch me watching a live game. Never. It's just not going to happen. It's the most boring sport in the world, in my opinion. I'll watch badminton or pickleball before I watch soccer. I'm saying
Oh
this all.
God.
I'm saying this all for a clip later, just to piss off my sister, our sister. So, see, you're laughing your ass off because I'm gonna piss her off enough where she's gonna make time to get on our podcast. So
She's going to be
that's what
sitting there
I'm.
going, she's going to be sitting there, Mike, you're taking the kids. I need to go on and set my brother straight. That's what she's going to do.
Yeah, that's okay. That's good. I'm okay with that. Just Alexandra, soccer sucks. That's for you,
I love
sweetheart. I love you. But all right, so before we get into the Jets, I just want to get your take on Colorado, which, by the way, I jumped on the bandwagon early. I got the shirt upstairs to prove it. I'm big fan of Deion Sanders and what he's doing over there at Colorado. How do you think they fare the rest of the season?
Well, I have to look at their schedule real quick, and I'll do that while I'm talking. My thing is, it's a shocker. They beat TCU, who was in the college football playoff last year, so that is huge to beat them and come out and pretty much prove what he was preaching to his team. I don't know if you saw some of the pregame highlights before the game and a post game about how he acts. I do love the way he motivates his team. I think he's got that cleaner version of a Rex Ryan feel to him. If you're a fan of the team, you're going to love it. If you're a player, you're going to love it. And
Yeah.
right now, he's proven, and it kind of hurts my feelings because one of their studs, Mr. Two-way cornerback slash wide receiver, running back, or whatever, the guy that blew it up, I think his last name is Hunter, was a
Yep.
Notre Dame commit originally, and sort of Sanders like pulled him away.
I thought he was going to FSU or something, or Florida or something, and then he was
He
pulled away.
committed. I know Notre Dame posted it up. He had committed to Notre Dame, maybe verbally, the long before the commitment thing, and eventually changed his mind. Maybe he was going to go to FSU at one point, but it was like disheartening to see that a guy blow up like that. And you know what? The way Deion Sanders, who was a two-way player, who could play receiver and could play, obviously is an all-time great at the cornerback position. To have him talk so highly of this guy. He's saying he should be the number one pick when he goes out into the NFL and that kind of thing. That's pretty insane to think that he's putting that much stock into a player after one game. But I'm going to look it up and look at their
Yeah, but if
schedule.
you, it's one game, but did you look? It was like 100 degrees. The guy played every single snap, pretty much the entire
Mm-hmm.
game, and not only that, he had the interception, and he played great on offense. I mean, that interception that he had to stop TCU from scoring was unbelievable interception. The way he just jumped in front and took that ball away. I'm a big Colorado fan. I made sure I watched the game. I've been following the hype. I watch all the his other son that does all his social media stuff. They do a pretty good job with it. They try to show exactly what's happening. To me, the big thing is his son, the quarterback.
Shador?
Yeah, Shador. I mean, 510 yards, 4 throwing touchdowns, not a single interception. Supposedly, he's getting like NIL deals like out the ass right now, like ridiculous.
You know what? Yes, you got to give props for that. But also, I don't remember if TCU was a really big, obviously, every year. And that's what I love about college. You can't really take stock from one year to the other because players leave, they graduate, and you have to have a new crop of players to replace them and hope they're just as good. But I don't remember TCU being a big defensive team, but I could be wrong. So
Well,
I'm
they
just
lost. They were definitely weaker on defense. They lost a lot of players between last year and this year. So they're not the same team that went to the championship game last year. But still, it's TCU versus Colorado, who has 1-11 last year. And all I love watching videos now of all these naysayers about Dion. Oh, it's all hype. There's no way he's got 75 transfer players. He can't do this. He can't do that. There's no way. Yeah, he'll probably be better than last year, but they're hyping this. And then he goes out there and they score 45 points. And the game was the only thing about that worries me about Colorado is they were getting crushed up the middle. I mean, if Nebraska this weekend when they play him, if Nebraska's paying attention, unless they shore up the middle of the defense, you just keep pounding up the middle against Colorado. The only difference is Colorado can come right back and score pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're probably going to be very much focused on the offense. Obviously, we'll have to see. But I will say, they have an interesting schedule. I think it really comes down to not Nebraska or Colorado State, who are their next two games. It really comes down to how they compete against what right now are currently ranked Oregon at 13 and USC, especially USC at
Yeah,
6.
USC's the one I'm looking for.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to. I mean, you're talking about a possible shootout if it's Caleb Williams versus Shador, and the players that they have on Colorado right now. You have the perennial Heisman Trophy winner last year, most likely to win it this year, going against these up and start coming Sanders team.
I
So
don't
that's going
know.
to
There's
be
a lot of talk about 3 potential Heisman winners already on Colorado, so we'll see.
well. Listen, I mean, I will say this. All right, last week you talked about one of the things that about and KC's right out now at the goal line on first, second and goal. You talked about how Sanders was being criticized a lot. And honestly, the only criticism I ever remember really hearing, remember I told you I had to remember what it was more about how he left HBCU school and moved to a power school, Power Five school, and how he sort of let that program go. But, in defense of him, but that's what a coach does. They want to
Yeah, but
professionally
you know the
develop.
backstory on that? Like, he went there and he brought all this money into the
Correct.
HBCU, and they basically fucked him over. And they fucked the program over. The money was being funneled away. Like, he
Mhm.
brought this money into the football program, and the school was not putting it where it was supposed to go. But he only went to the HBCU because no one else believed him, and so he said,
Mhm.
"Screw it, I'm going to go here. I'm going to prove that HBCUs can win," and he did it. And then he took all these players with him to the Colorado, and now he's going to be there for a year or two, and then he's going to move on to an even bigger school, and he's going to be a juggernaut because right now, especially African American players, they're going to want to go play. This transfer portal between this year and next year, even if he goes 500 for the season and he only wins half his games, you're going to have all these players that are going to want to go play for Coach Prime.
True.
Absolutely.
True. I mean,
It's going to hurt a lot of other programs.
well, and I will say he's better suited in a time period where if a player does leave, if a coach does leave, the players can join him much easily. Where I always felt bad for college players. You get recruited by this coach, you go to this school, you're now you redshirt maybe your freshman year, and now you're ready to start playing in your sophomore year or your junior year, and your coach just goes to a better school for a better pay, and
Yeah.
you're stuck with the coach you didn't want to do. And if you want to transfer, you have to wait a whole year of eligibility. You have to waste a whole year of eligibility just to move over. So I do like that the transfer portal allows that to happen. That's how Notre Dame benefits from having Hartman as their quarterback, he literally was able to come right from Wake Forest to Notre Dame, and he's looking great. So it's going to be an interesting season. You have the Colorado story with Sanders. You have the Caleb Williams stories with USC. You have the Georgia Bulldogs. What are they going to do? Are they going to continuously be dominant? Is Alabama going to come back? LSU got destroyed, even though they were.
Yeah, by FSU. That's freaking awesome.
I
And I'm not
love
an
it.
FSU fan, but I just love to watch LSU get destroyed.
Well,
That was
as a Notre
nice.
Dame guy, I wanted this. I couldn't. I was so happy to see him get wiped off, and that's what we usually saw. And then you have, Notre Dame is having a decent season, and if they play well against Ohio State, you could have Notre Dame in the conversation. If they can beat Ohio State, which is another big program with them in Michigan as contention for college football playoff, now you have Notre Dame, in that conversation, which is all I really want. So to me, it's going to be a very, very cool college football season, at least through mid-October, and then we see what happens with Notre Dame. And then I'll start getting a little annoyed. But
Yeah, well, Notre Dame is always hit or miss. One year they'll have a shot, and the next year they'll just fold. So they
well,
have
yeah,
I think they have a tougher time recruiting at Notre Dame. So, and
well,
I think
yeah,
it's getting even harder now.
and that's why some people say they should move to a Power 5 conference because that will help a little bit. Some people say they need to lower the standards. Notre Dame will never lower their standards, and unfortunately, you know what? I like that about them, that they're not willing to lower their standards. It could hurt in the long run, but if you have a good coach that produces and is able to bring players in that are going into their senior year or something like that, ready to graduate like Hartman is this year or graduated already, and they're on tops and they want to get themselves on play field for NFL, because that's why Hartman came. He wanted to get a chance to showcase himself for the NFL draft, and he's graduated from Wake Forest already. So I'm excited. We'll see. But, every year by year.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm sorry, I'm just checking the Yankees score right now. They are losing to Detroit, something they can't do if they have any shot of making it to the playoffs, which I kind of don't want them to, but because they'll
No,
get.
you don't say. You don't say after the last time
Well,
they come.
because even if they squeaked into the playoffs, they're going to get blown out. I mean, they don't have pitching. Rodon was pitching tonight, let up 7 or 8 runs. The $100-and-something million man looks like shit.
Well,
So
here's a question for you before we get into football, back to football. I have a question for you. Right now, in your mind, which is the worst contract, Rodon or Stanton?
Rodon, because at least Stanton has proven himself in the playoffs.
Okay.
And lately, Stanton's actually been doing. Stanton goes on his streaks. I've accepted the fact that Stanton will be miss 30 to 60 games every season. But if we make it to the playoffs, I think I think for whatever reason he's able to turn it on. The issue what I have with Stanton right now is the fact that he can't run. So hopefully in the offseason he can do some yoga or something and loosen himself up and make
Get
himself
some
so he can
plyometrics
run.
in.
He can't run. He can't. He can't run. But
It's almost like
The Rodon deal is Donaldson was the worst deal in recent history for the Yankees, but Rodon so far is not looking good because he's been injured, and then every time he comes back, he looks like shit. He might have an
and
okay game,
and he's not being endearing to the fans as much as even when he makes his mistakes and doesn't do well.
well, he had that one incident, which basically he's lucky it got blown up. It got it blew over, or whatever, but. I mean, he got booed. He came out in, I think it was the 4th inning tonight, and they were booing him. He let up, at that time, he had let up 6 runs, and then I think there was one guy on base that ended up scoring, and so now he let up 7 runs in 4 innings. He's got an ERA at like 7. It's like, dude, we're paying you all this money for what? So it just, to me, is another example of Cashman maybe be losing his touch, and maybe it's time to move on from Cashman. But I think, unfortunately, because the young guys are there, the Martian Dominguez is doing awesome, Jason, and Perea, it looks like he's doing pretty good. Volpe continues to be Volpe. I think it's given some hope, and that's why I got people that are watching and still going to the games. But it's I'm hoping it doesn't whitewash the fact that this season was a complete disaster and that changes are actually made.
Okay. All right.
So we'll see.
Well, let's get into the JETS, Jets. I
What
mean, you
they
excited? You
have?
nervous?
Do they have a game coming soon or what?
They have the season opener on Monday home against the Buffalo Bills, the 9-11 game. They bring out the legacy jerseys. Back in our days of growing up and watching the Jets, that was the style of uniform that we watched, and we love the Jets. So, and bring them, it's perfect with Klecko going to the Hall of Fame that they brought that logo back. So, are you excited? I mean, did you see the pump video, the pump up video I sent you, the promo
Yeah,
video?
I liked it. I would have liked it if it was much more of a low key pump video, not super hyped like I normally like, but I mean it was pretty good. I think the thing that surprises me, what did Salah say recently about winning the division or something? He said something, so I saw that that's going out there now. Which I'm not a fan of because that's just fodder for other teams. I'm really hoping they can take it to Buffalo at home because you got to at least split with everybody in your division this year. So you got to win your home games. I'm hoping they can take one to New England, if not both from New England, at least one from Buffalo, and at least one from Miami, if not both from Miami. That's my hope. One from Buffalo, one or two from Miami, both from New England, and we'll see what happens.
I mean, they split with Miami and Buffalo last year. They got swept by New England. But I mean, if you look at it last year, they won the first match against Buffalo, and they just barely lost with their, I think it was Mike White, their third string quarterback in, and they lost by a little more than a touchdown. Now you have Aaron Rodgers, pretty much a more stacked team on offense. I think they have a really good chance. And like I loved hearing from Buffalo, maybe, obviously this could be smoke under the water, but they're like saying, it's hard for them to game plan because they don't know or have much info on Rodgers with Hackett and how they run. And there's not
Right.
really much to get themselves ready. And the Jets have the benefit, at least for the first game, being home, and Von Miller is out for at least the first 5 weeks, possibly 6 weeks, still recovering from his ACL. So, that's a big pass rusher that should level the playing field a little bit or give Rodgers and that offensive line a little bit of ease. But I'm excited. I can't wait for it. I really want to see how this offensive line does. I want to know how many times they run to the right with Veretuka and Becton on the side, and whether or not Becton's going to last a game and pancake a few players, and Cook and Hall are just going to run all over the place, and then they didn't get to Wilson. So I'm excited about the offense. I think the defense should be well, and I would not be surprised if it's a convincing win. But any win will be good to start off the season, especially with the road.
My concern will be Rodgers. I think can handle it, but some of these young guys. I mean, this is super hyped between one Jets drive, Hard Knocks, Rodgers coming over. There is so much. This is the only thing more hyped than the Jets this football year is Colorado. So I just hope that some of these guys don't get lost in the hype, and come game day, their nerves get the better of them. Like I said, I don't think Sauce will have a problem. I don't think some of the Wilson will have a problem. I don't think Rodgers will have a problem. But some of these young guys might have a problem with it. Either they're believing the hype too much and they're not, so they make mistakes, or they're just so nervous that they make mistakes.
True. Yeah, I mean, it's the give and take of the NFL season, and coming in as one of these more, I guess at least the AFC Championship or playoff favorite to make it to the playoffs. I just want to get through this game with a win, because then it takes a little pressure off when you go to Dallas and then you come home against or home against New England. It's home against New England, and then you have the Giants, and you have KC and Philadelphia. If you can get a win against Buffalo, that gives you an opportunity to really hit that possible 3-3 mark going into the bye week at week 7. So that's really what I want them to have, that 3-3, record going into the bye week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. I really wish I was at the game. So Woody Johnson, if you happen to watch our lowly little podcast and you want to send a plane and a plane ticket for me, send me from Florida to New York. I'd be more than happy to get a press pass, go down there, and I'll serve drinks to the players. Just get me on the field. That'd be great.
Well, they
I'll be your water boy.
They did have something on Twitter where it wasn't for this game, but they had some stuff on Twitter for Green and White Day, Sweepstakes Day. If you on their Twitter account, if you shared it and put green and white sweepstakes, you could win a bunch of different things, a possibility of different things, like a signed jersey from.
Yeah, he does that all the time on his X account.
I'm just saying the Jets account itself, they had multiple things. They had a game, practice game ball, Garrett Wilson jersey, on the field for a game, a bunch of different things that you could do, possibly win on. Obviously, thousands of people did, so I'm never going to be lucky enough to get something like that.
Yeah, you have the Iken luck, which is none. So that's just the way it goes.
So I'm excited. I would like to see how this goes with Breece Hall and Cook. Are they going to be easing Breece Hall in? Are they going to take both of them and just split them up 15-15, 50-50 kind of split. Is it going to be more of a passing attack? Are they going to try to control the run game? I'm just interested to see what they really do here with the Jets. They play well. Buffalo even said the defense gives them a hard time. They're the hardest defense for them to play last year, which really means is great because Jermaine Johnson, most people think when they drafted him and they in the year that they drafted Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson, and that was the third first round pick, and they moved back into the third round and up in the third round to get him was for Josh Allen's mobility, and he got a sack against him in the first win. So to me, this is a really exciting game to see these pieces that Douglas and Saleh put together, especially with that defensive front, because there's all these things are streaming about what the Jets could do if they're running well, and these players that could be on the trade block. You have Mike Evans. You have people talking about Bosa, that there was, discussions about possible 28 teams, and the Jets were one of them, went to San Francisco about the interest of trading Bosa because he's still not on the contract. So it's very interesting to see what's going to happen this season. Because I have a feeling the Jets, if they come out of this 6 weeks at a good record, 4-2, you're going to see them go all in. And they're going to start, they have the cap space, and they're just going to explode and get another big-time player, even if it's a season rental or a 2-year rental. So they're going to try to put this Rodgers way.
I think the Jets will do well this weekend if they can establish the run game with the running backs. And then and not rely on the passing game with Rodgers. I think if it comes down to they have to rely on Rodgers for most of the game, it's going to be a lot harder game to win. If they can establish the run game early and then use a lot of play action to get Rodgers to get rid of the ball quickly, get it to the receivers, and then a lot of yards after the catch, I personally think is the key to them winning this weekend.
That might be hard, though, with both running backs coming off of injuries from last season, Cook's shoulder and Hall's knee. I'm wondering, obviously having both, they don't have to do a full workload. And then you have Carter that can come in. But, I think that's the usual football answer. Let's establish the run game and make sure that works, because that opens up the passing game even more with play action, like you said. But I have a feeling that I wouldn't be surprised if you saw 25 throws, maybe 30 throws from Rodgers in this game.
I just think it's going to come down to if they can't establish the run game, then there's going to be a lot more blitzing and a lot more pressure on Rodgers. And I think if they can establish the run game, it forces the defense to respect it and then look for it. And it might give Rodgers, because he's quick to get rid of the ball anyway. So if they just give him that extra second or so to look off from one receiver to another and make a play, that's what's going to happen. I don't really think we're going to see too many deep balls. I think it's just, I'm hoping, and I think it's going to be Rodgers just carveting them up over the middle and on the sidelines when he does.
Well, I will say, I know traditionally we always say the running game opens up the passing game, but I think in today's NFL, you could also say that the passing game opens up the run game by having these dinking duns and making you have to pull your players back to cover the receivers more. So either way, I think we have a quarterback that can do both. So hopefully that helps and benefits us going forward. Especially in this game. But I am so psyched to see. I saw practice pictures to show the Jets wearing the legacy helmets, the Jets old logo on the shiny helmets. It looks fire. It looks incredible. I am so stoked. I'm sorry. So stoked.
Dude, you're like a little kid at Christmas time.
It is. This
grow
is my
up, man. You're 45 years old. Grow up.
No, never. I want to wear, if I had the Jets pants, if I had a helmet, I'm not bringing that one because that's on the other side. It's signed by Corvette. But I had the full helmet. I would go to school on the third day of school wearing all this stuff. And my students would be like, what the heck is wrong with you? And I'd be like, you know what? Doesn't matter. Okay. I'm a Jets fan. Jets game night. Let's go.
Don't you have a Jets suit?
I have the jacket, and it's actually at work. So I'll probably put that on a little bit during the school day. But it's been hot up here. So I don't know if it's going to work out.
Dude, you don't even know what hot is.
Listen, humidity. We both have humidity, but when you're going in, it was brutal today. And during dismissal, I was burning out there and sweating like crazy.
Poor baby.
I'm sorry, but you guys don't really spend your time out in the sun. You do the early morning chores and late afternoon chores to avoid that because you want to be in the AC.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And you have Hurricane Lee that's probably coming your way sometime the end of next week.
Is that I just saw something that my school.
You might want to pay attention to it because I pay attention to it just because of work, and I live in Florida, and it looks like it's going right for Florida, but supposedly it's going to turn up, and and they're calling for the eastern coast above the South Carolina. That anywhere up there could get hit, and if it hits up that way, it could be anywhere. It could be a Category 3. And what was that one that hit you guys a few years ago?
Sandy.
Sandy was only a
That was about
hurricane, was
10 years
only a
ago.
Cat 1, and this one could, if it does hit, it could be a strong 2 or 3. That if it does hit your
I
area.
I will say, and I agree. I think what benefits where I am, a Long Island, New York region, is because it's like that armpit region.
Yep,
A lot of times,
that's a good
except for
description for your the area. No, just kidding.
there you go. Uh, I always call it in Long Island's the hair that comes out. But I was saying, like, I've noticed, except for Hurricane Gloria and Sandy, hurricanes tend to veer off or go more inland towards the sides, and they never really hit us directly. And that was the thing that made Sandy so dangerous. It literally, the eye went right through us. So
Yeah.
that's a very, very, I don't get as nervous as much when I hear hurricanes because I feel like it's always been that warning that, oh, this is going to be it. And then it ends up being, okay, we had a little rainstorm and some wind kind of thing. And very rarely does it hit us directly. Because I still remember us as kids after Hurricane Gloria, you, me, and Ken, we going outside right when the eye came in and it was like quiet as anything. And we go walking to the end of the street and all of a sudden we start seeing pick up. And I remember you and Ken are like, let's get back inside. And we were
Yep.
coming in and we were
Yep.
standing on the doorstep and mom's like, get inside, get inside. And we're like, we're just watching.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder. For me, the Jets. Is there week 2? Were they home?
They are away at Dallas in week 2.
All right, so they'll still play. That's good.
Yeah, so it's still going to be a game. I just hope I have TV to watch it, but I'll watch it on my phone if necessary. Just worry about my Wi-Fi because I went Hulu Live. I got rid of my cable and went Hulu Live. So it's
Telling
been
you,
good.
YouTube TV is the way to go. I got YouTube TV. I got they have the Sunday ticket through YouTube TV. Cole, last year I didn't get the NFL ticket. I got Cole the student NFL ticket for him. But this year I just did through me, and then he gets to watch it as well at school, and that's it. I mean, YouTube TV is the right way to go.
Well, you know what I do? I did originally Disney Plus bundle package, and it gave me ESPN and Hulu, but it wasn't Hulu Live. And I was like, when I switched to Hulu Live, I was able to get rid of my regular cable. Finally got rid of Optimum after 30 years of having it, and for like $70, I get Disney Plus still. I get ESPN Plus, and I get Hulu Live, and everything I need to see is there. The regular cable stations. And then a few extra bucks, I got my HBO. So like I'm saving myself $150 a month just by doing that.
Jeez. Yeah, you see, well, you're lucky because the teams you like, it's local. Technically, it's
Mhm.
local TV, so you don't have to. I have to buy packages. I have to buy a package in order to do the Yankees. I have to buy a package in order to watch the Jets. I don't get to watch the Islanders as much as I like because I'm not going to buy anything for that.
And there's
Um,
really no packages for that because they have MSG and I don't have MSG. So the Islanders hurts me. That's why, having the season tickets last year was nice because I was able to go to the home games at least and see the team.
yeah, hockey needs to do a better job of being more accessible on TV or on the
Well,
internet, I should say.
they're on ESPN now. So hopefully they get a deal for like some type of streaming service that's better suited for fans like you who are out of state from the home team kind of thing. You'll be able to see the Islanders better. But at least they're on ESPN and occasion games you will be able to see on national TV kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
we'll see what happens. But they play such fewer games compared to baseball, so I'm
it's
hoping
like half the games.
half the
Exactly.
games,
Half the
half the
games.
games. Yep. So we got 7-7 Detroit versus KC. Oh, we almost got sacked.
And it's 4th and 5 now.
Yep.
So they're going to be punting away. It's about 4 minutes left in the second half.
I don't
First
think
half.
Kansas City expected Detroit to come out playing this well.
And you know what? I watching with Hutchinson, being a young pressure, that's who just pressured him. But looking at the team, Amon St. Brown, Goff is a solid quarterback, not a great quarterback, and now the rookie Jamari Gibbs at running back, and then hopefully in 6 weeks or 7 weeks, when Jamison Williams finally gets to play the majority of the season because he's only had like 1 or 2 games because he got hurt and all that kind of stuff and suspended. Detroit can be a dangerous team. They're my pick for the Central. They're my picks for the NFC North. I'm sorry, not the Central, the NFC North. That's my pick to win it because Minnesota is probably more solid pick because they have the more veteran team.
Yeah.
Jefferson.
I saw a hype video for it wasn't a super hype video, but I saw a hype video for Detroit today. I don't know if it was on YouTube or where I saw it, where they were talking about how maybe it was on TikTok. It was kind of like a parody slash Detroit actually has a shot this year, because Detroit, similar to the Detroit Tigers in baseball, have been laughing stock for a while, but we'll
And I
see.
love Ford Field. Ford Field is a gorgeous stadium. I loved it. I loved being there. Around it was not much to do, but it was a great football stadium to watch a game. We saw the Giants versus Detroit a few years back. Me and my buddies. It's a good stadium. You'd like it. I like the aesthetics of it, Ford
Yeah.
Field. So if you ever
So
get a
where do
chance
you so where do you think the division ends up?
for the Jets,
Yeah,
or
for the AFC East. So because I have people obviously in being in Florida, there's a lot of people that are Dolphins fans, and there's nothing I enjoy more than telling them how much the Jets are better than the Dolphins. And there's a few that pay attention to what we do on our podcast. So, I don't. I think the Dolphins end up in third. I think it's going to be the Jets, Buffalo, Dolphins, New England.
So I went through every single team in the NFL's schedule. And if I told this team was win, I went over to the other side and marked it as a loss. I went through the entire season schedule for every NFL team, and I came out with the Jets ending up first in the division, with Miami second and Buffalo third, with only a game separating Miami and Buffalo, and then New England a distant fourth at 6 wins. So I have it going that way: Jets, Miami, Buffalo, New England.
How many wins do you have for Miami?
11.
Oh,
11.
no way. No
Yeah.
way. There's no way they win 11. I think Miami is lucky if they go 9-8.
Listen, we all three, four of the toughest schedules in the NFL are all the AFC East. That's pretty much what it is. Like number one, I think is Miami or Buffalo. Then it's the vice versa the other. Then it's like New England, and then it's the Jets or vice versa. The toughest schedules in the NFL are the AFC East, and the easier schedules, it seems like it's a lot of the NFC East teams, even though they play the AFC East teams. It's just the way it works out. Um, but I mean, I have Cincy winning the North, with Cleveland coming in second. I have Jacksonville winning the South. I have KC winning the AFC West with the best record in the NFL, with Cincinnati having the second best. I have Philadelphia winning the NFC East, Detroit, Minnesota, and Chicago actually finishing in a three-way tie, with tiebreaker being the divisional record for Detroit winning it. I have them all at 9 wins. Obviously, I think I would change that now, because it looks like Green Bay and Love might actually win more than one game, because I have them winning only one game, Washington winning 2, and Arizona winning 2. But that was before Sam Howell, and seeing him progress a little bit, that I would probably put that a little higher for Washington. I have New Orleans winning the South, and then I have San Francisco winning the West. So that's my pick.
I have the Jets. They're either going to be 11-6 or 10-7. I got
Really? You
my
think that?
Yeah. I think 11-6, 10-7. I got Buffalo is going to be 9-8, maybe 10-7, but I think they're going to be 9-8. I think the Dolphins finish under 500 and they're going to be 8-9. And then I
Wow.
got 6-11 for New England.
So New England you and I have the same for New England, 6-11. I would say Miami would be accurate with yours if Tua doesn't last the season,
Well,
but they are
that's
a powered
I
offense
don't
with.
expect Tua to last the season. I don't think he's built to last the season. His track record shows that's not the case. I don't think the offensive line from Miami is going to protect him enough, and I think he will end up being hurt again. And 8-9 to me is being generous. I wouldn't be
Hmm.
surprised if they ended up 7-10. And I
Okay.
believe most of their wins are going to come early, and all the Dolphins fans are going to go, "We'll see, yeah, this is our year, woo!" And then Tua's going to go down, and then their whole team's going to go down and do a slide, and they're going to be done as typical Dolphins do. Um, yeah,
Well,
and
that's
I'm saying that
interesting.
on purpose because I know it's going to piss off Dolphins fans, but I don't care because I hate the Dolphins.
Well, I mean, I look at the schedule, and in the same 6 week span that the Jets play their schedule, they have the Chargers away at the Chargers, away at New England, home against the Broncos, away at Buffalo, home against the Giants, and home against the Panthers in those same 6 weeks. I can say that, I agree. If they come out of there winning a lot, they could do well. But then they go week 7 on. They have at the Eagles, home against the Patriots, at the Chiefs. Then they finally get their bye, and then they go at Oakland, which could be a decent team with Jacobs and Devontae Adams and Garoppolo. Maybe they have a good offense going on. And then they're at the Jets, at the Commanders, which some people are speaking up as being better than we think. Tennessee, home against Tennessee, and then home against the Jets. I mean, that's their end of the season schedule goes against the Cowboys, Ravens, Bills. Those are games where, yeah, they could start off on a hot streak like 5-1, 4-2,
Yeah,
and then
that's what
they're
I think.
tanking for the rest of the season. Where
Yep.
to me, it's the opposite for the Jets. They start off with a hard schedule and it just gets a little bit easier towards the end, except for some divisional games.
Well, and I also think if that's why if the Jets can beat Buffalo on Monday night, I think they're in a much better position. There'll be a lot more talk about them winning the division. I don't know if a lot of people put a lot of weight into game one. I do. If they win Monday night, it'll be huge.
I see. I'm not worried about as much about Buffalo and Miami when it comes to playing against them. We could easily split it with them. The
Yeah, but
Jets
to
have.
win at home after all the hype, week one, Monday night football on 9/11, I think that if you can't win that game, that to me raises a lot of questions.
Okay. I mean, I also give it to the fact that Buffalo's been together longer. So if they come out a little flat, I get it.
Hey,
My biggest thing is
Colorado showed us you don't need. It's not about how long you get together. It's how well you
uh,
gel and how quickly you gel.
college is also different than the NFL.
Oh,
So
come on. It's all about the players getting together. Do they get. No, 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 no. Colorado's changed the game. It's not about how long you've been together.
yeah, stop it. All
Go
right.
Buffalo.
We
Go
all know you got a little
Buffaloes. That's the only
you all
Buffalo I'm rooting for this year.
dude, we all know you got a little stiffy for Colorado, but please, okay,
Yeah.
let's take the chill pill.
I'm a prime time fan. Absolutely. Coach Prime is I love what he's doing. So
Okay, we'll see how it does. You got to give him a little patience. But as I was trying to say, the team that actually scares me within the division for the Jets specifically is New England because they haven't beaten them in such a long time. And Belichick, cheating Belichick, kind of thing, is I'm sure he has some spy camera that the Jets and Giants haven't found in the stadium that helps them out, kind of thing. So I don't know. To me, they got to slay that dragon before I will anoint the Jets as a winner of the division legitimately because of the fact I think New England could give them a hard time to go better than 4-2. Because I will say they'll probably split. Better than three and they can go 2-4 if they can't beat New England. So to me, they have to beat New England because I do think they're going to split with Miami and Buffalo. So I think they need to sweep New England and get that 4-2 record in the division to be anything considered a successful regular season that way.
yeah, but I still think winning Monday is huge. I think just because of all the stars aligned and all the hype and the Monday night game, it's going to show what kind of team it is. And if they squeak out a win, that's still good. I'd like to see them win handedly, but we'll see what happens. Because I think if they lose Monday, the doubters are going to come out inside the players themselves and the fans, and So I think Monday in my opinion, is a must-win. But I know it's
I
hard to
think
say at the beginning of the season, but to me, Monday against Buffalo is a must-win.
I think more Buffalo is the difference between going 2-4 to possibly 4-2 in the first 6 games is the Buffalo game. If they can squeak out a win there, that means they have the Cowboys, which that's a coin to us. I think they should be able to beat the Cowboys. The Patriots, they should be able to beat. They're a better team. You have the Chiefs, Broncos, and Eagles. They could easily go 4-2 if they can beat Buffalo because they could still lose to the Chiefs and Eagles and have that team. You know what I mean? So that to
Yeah,
me, Buffalo is just the difference between possibly going 2-4 and 4-2, in my opinion, even though it's only one game. I really think if they lose to Buffalo, there's a good chance that they're probably going to lose another game outside of the KC and Eagles game. Maybe they'll lose to the Patriots or something like that, or the Broncos out of nowhere, and they could end up 2-4, which would be a bad start, in my opinion.
yep,
I want 3-3 or better.
yeah.
You
I
know,
would I would agree with that, and I think Buffalo is the catalyst for that. It's going to give them a boost to their confidence or solidify their confidence. Versus if they lose, that's going to be a big letdown. So we'll
I mean,
see.
because if you look at the second half of their season, after their bye week in week 7, they have at the Giants, which is like a home game. They have the Chargers at the Giants, home against the Chargers, at the Raiders, which will be there, at the Buffalo, Miami, Falcons, Texans, Miami, and Commanders. I mean, honestly, there's only 2 or 3 games that you sit there going, okay, that's going to be the tougher games. Otherwise, you can sit there and go, I think they should be winning those games. They should either be the favorite or a very good chance of winning those games. So if you're talking about 3-3 in the first 6, you have 11 games where if you only lose 2 or 3, you have if you're losing 3, you have a 10-7 a 10 and 11-7 record. That's 11-6 record. That's a great
Yeah.
way to be. That's where you have them predicted around 11-6,
Yep.
I think, right? So
11-6. If they win Monday, I have them at 11-6. If they lose Monday, 10-7, 9-8. That's how much I
okay,
think Monday matters.
okay. I think to me, if you go 3-3, you could still get 11-6, and then I think if you go win, you can go 4-2. Now you're looking at 12 or 13 wins because now you're going to live on a high. You're going to go into the Cowboys with a little high steam, and you can pretty much that's a coin flip, like I said. So you could beat the Cowboys. Then you go to New England. You could beat New England. You should beat New England. You're the better
Right.
team overall. So now you're 3-0. And then you got the Broncos. I mean, you got come to back. Was it? It's Chiefs. That's the most likely going to be a loss because the Chiefs have been together for so long, and Andy Reid, they just know each other. And Kels will be back; he's out tonight. You have the Broncos. Who knows what Russell Wilson's going to show up this season? So that's going to be a game that could be a winnable. And you have the Eagles. So even if you say you lose the Chiefs and the Eagles, you go 4-2 in those first 6 games. Then you go into the Giants. I mean, I could see them not losing until possibly Buffalo in week 11. And then your end of the schedule is 2 Miami games and a Browns game that's considered tough because it depends on what Watson's doing. So you could literally have a magical season. And the Chiefs just scored.
Yeah,
Darn
I
it.
saw that. 14. It's going to be 14-7 at the half.
Uh,
And the Jets, the Yankees are now down 10-3. I got the
Oy
TV on the KC game, and I got my phone going on the Yankees game. And I need to build a wall. I need to build a wall of TVs.
and just live stream and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, I
So
know you do that for the Yankee game sometimes. You live stream, you're talking about what you think the Yankees are doing right and wrong during your baseball
yeah.
games,
Well,
correct?
it's funny. I tried to do it on YouTube, and then I did it on YouTube and Facebook because I have the ability to do both at the same time. YouTube shut me down in like 30 seconds because I
Because
was
you're
literally live streaming the game.
were you
But
showing the game at the same
yeah,
time?
I was showing the game without the announcers. I was being the announcer. I had the volume all the way down, but YouTube shut me down in literally like 30 seconds. Facebook let it go the entire time. I had people from the Philippines. I probably had like 150 people from the Philippines watching the game on Facebook. They were
You got
all
to be
like, "Thank
careful.
you, thank you." I'm like, yeah, But so Facebook allowed it. I thought YouTube would allow it because I wasn't using the sound, but they shut it down right away. So I don't know how all that works because when you watch, people put up replays all the time on YouTube, which is the announcers and everything else, and they don't say
It's the
anything.
live thing. It's the live thing, and it depends on if you have your YouTube also. I mean, you could probably argue saying you're not getting paid for it, but then people are not being able to do it because it's a live game. Replays of plays is different. You know, it's just as long as you're not making money off of it, they really can't do anything about that. But a live stream, you're taking away that ability to have live money, like have the money from live streaming it, kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
but if I'm doing it 9 times out of 10, it's somebody who can't get the live stream in the Philippines. It's like,
true, but I mean, there's a guy that a good Jet fan who runs an account on Twitter called Jets Media. He also does Knicks Media, and he live streams himself on Twitter or now X, and he doesn't show the game. He just as the
yeah,
game is playing, he's giving his input of what's going on and his excitement. So that one you can avoid because you're not hearing the sound or anything. Like you're just getting his report. So if you're watching the game, you can turn it on mute and hear him talk about it,
right.
kind of thing. So maybe you want to do something like that for those fans that have it. But
Yeah, yeah, I thought about it. It's or more of like basically you make it more like a radio podcast where people can just listen to it and then sync it up to where it matches what the time frame is on their TV. I thought about that, but we'll see. I'm still figuring this all out. I mean, we even like it's funny when we do the live stream when I do the live stream for high school baseball here. We specifically say YouTube don't ban us, bro, because people play walk up music and things like that, and we've been real lucky. YouTube hasn't said anything except we've had I think 4 videos that have been blocked in Russia for copyright infringement. That's it.
yes.
That's
Well,
it.
you have that all
I'm
the
like
time.
it's Russia. Why does Russia care if somebody plays some hip hop song? But
Well, it's
whatever.
not Russia. It's the legal system that they have where the people have the rights and they don't want to lose those rights. Like I used to get that all the time. I'd use music on my Instagram for the camp I worked at, and occasionally I get a message saying on Instagram saying this video has been blocked, and then I'd look at it and it's like blocked in 15 countries, but not the U.S. I was like, I don't
Yeah,
care. It's only
yeah,
cool for
yeah.
the U.S. Okay, who
Yeah,
cares?
it's funny to me that the only country we get blocked in is Russia because I could care less if people in Russia see our game. I mean, it's a high school game, so
It's like, really, Russia? Like, you're not going to watch this game anyway. You're not baseball fans as much anyway.
exactly, exactly. I saw this weirdest thing. I think it's the Netherlands. It's this weird baseball thing in the Netherlands. You have to look it up. I'll have to send it to you when I find it again. It's something weird. It looks like baseball, but it's not. It's like really messed up, but it looks fun. So I'll send it to you.
Is it basketball?
No, it's some weird thing. It's like really like basically the story is the guy came to the United States, lived here for a little while, saw baseball, and then tried to remember it when he went back home. It's not a diamond. It's like you run to first base up the third base line, then you go. It's really weird. It's really
Oh, I
messed.
think I saw some documentary or a quick video thing on it, like a number of years ago. I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't think you got my basketball reference.
No.
There was a movie that was basketball from the guys who bring you South Park, and it was like it turned into like a national phenomenon, sort of like the way they had that movie Dodgeball,
Yeah.
sort of like that same type of thing. And it was like basketball and baseball all combined together, kind of thing. It's weird, but it was like that's what I was saying. Oh, is the game basketball because
Yeah. No,
because of
I
the
didn't. I didn't get the reference.
no,
I
that's
watched South Park, but not that much.
well, this is like this movie came out like 15 years ago, pretty much within the first 3 or 4 or 5 years of South Park, which has been on since I was in college. Oh my God, it's 25 years ago. It's been
Yep.
on that long. It's
Yep.
crazy.
Yep. Well, it predicts the future. You don't know that?
No, South not that South Park
Oh,
does it a little
that's
bit.
the Simpsons. The Simpsons.
Simpson.
The
The Simpsons
Simpsons
have
predicts. Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's I want to be like sitting there going, when is this going to happen? When's this going to happen next? When's this going to happen? Like predicting now when we know these things are going to
Yep.
happen.
Exactly. So it's pretty interesting. All right, so I'm really looking forward to Monday. So we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll get together Tuesday or Wednesday, get our post game wrap up, and then make our predictions for the rest of the season based on what we see on Monday.
All right, all right. I think I'm more of the optimist when it comes to the Jets. You're more of a pessimist in
I'm
terms
more
of.
of a 50-year Jets fan that's been let down every year. So yeah, I'm still not convinced. Roger still has 2 days to break his leg. He's probably going to play golf on Saturday or Sunday and get
You
run
feel a
over by a
return.
golf cart. I still
You're
think it's
feeling
going to
like
happen.
now. I have a question for you. Weren't we at the game against Buffalo when Testaverde blew out his Achilles? Was that? I almost feel like we were at the game. I think it was one of my first games ever going to the NFL.
I think so.
I just remember
You
the
think that
excitement
game
of it.
would stick more in our heads, but I'm not 100% sure.
For me, for the reason is like I got a view, and it's different than the TV view of watching from the stadium. It happening to my left in the distance as they were getting close to the goal line, and then see him going down and just being like, "Wait, what just happened?" And I could have sworn it was with you and possibly Kenneth, and it was one of my first football games because up to that point I hadn't gone to any football games because it was never had the money and it was in Jersey. So I don't know. It's just for some reason sticks in my head as we were at that game. I just wish I could find the ticket. Maybe Kenneth will know. Maybe we'll just bring Kenneth on as our fact checker and be like, yes, that's what we did. Okay.
Yeah. We'll keep him on off in the end as the producer / fact checker. But I want to get Cole on here for post Jets game. He'll see what his hype is on it.
Yeah, you know what? That would be nice if we can find a regular day night like where we get together, the three of us, and we every after the games, if it's a Sunday, maybe doing a Sunday night, if it's or Monday or Tuesday, depending on when the games are, get together and just do a nice little recap of our excitement and our possible defeats and the pain that we're going through. That would be awesome.
Are you watching the game at home on Monday?
Yeah, I'm very reluctant with the Vegas game coming up, going to any games until after I see.
No, I meant you're not going out anywhere. You're just going to stay home and watch it at home.
I can't. I'm not that kind of guy. Like to watch games. I don't like to be in large crowds. My buddy Joe and I, we already talked about it. The Jets make the Super Bowl, and that kind of thing. He already said he's kicking his wife and his kids out of the house. And he goes, it's me, him, his other buddy that's a diehard Jet fan, and another guy that's Jets fan, and we're the only ones invited. And no one else is allowed to come in, and no one's allowed to be there. And the wife has to leave the house. And if the Jets lose, I think she has to stay overnight somewhere else, kind of thing. So like that's the plan we talked about. That's the guy I did the bar top
I
for.
don't know. Jets make the Super Bowl. I think I'm going to the Super Bowl.
I want to, but that's a fortune. And you're talking about 10 grand right
Where
there.
is it
Mom,
this year?
I think it's in Vegas.
Oh yeah, no,
I'm
I'm not going to Vegas. No, not for that. That's going to be complete debauchery if it's in Vegas.
I mean, let's see. I'll look it up. Super Bowl site. Let's see. I forget. No, it's in. No, that's February 2023. Let's look at the 2024. It was in Arizona last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's at in Vegas. Yep. So
All
58's
right.
in Vegas.
So if the Jets somehow make it, I don't think I'm going because I'm not going to Vegas for that. That's going to be complete chaos.
Hey, I talked to mom earlier in the season, when the off season. I said, listen, mom, I know growing up you used to say, I wish I could have given you more on Christmas time and birthdays. And I said, Mom, you know what? It always broke your heart, but now you have an opportunity. If the Jets make it, I would like to cash in those chips. And you can send Colin and I to the Super Bowl. And she goes, no, those chips expired. Those things
Yeah,
expired.
that's good. Good answer, Mom. Good answer.
But
Good
I tried
answer.
it. I was like, Mom, you could make up for all those years you felt bad that because I would say, listen, we know we grew up with it. I loved Christmases because of the fact that we always got that one gift we really wanted.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
and it sucked when you saw your friends what they got, but the reality is, I loved that they got these big gifts that no one else in our friendship got. Like I got the aircraft carrier that one year for GI Joe, and Al and Mom tried to put it together when we were at Dad's, and they couldn't put it together. And I come home, we get home, I stay up all night, I put it together, and they find me next morning, the day after Christmas playing with it, and they're just, Al's like, "What the hell just happened?" And I was
Yep.
like 7 years old or something like that.
Yep.
There's memories. I got my Knight Rider power wheel, not power wheel. What do you call it? Big wheel.
Yep.
I had the motorcycle cop thing. Like there were some big gifts that I got. We used to get bikes during that time.
Yep.
So they can't. My mom should never be upset about what she provided us.
No, definitely not. I agree with that 100%. I think it's made
And
us who we are today anyway.
oh yeah, but even then we got spoiled at times when I got spoiled at least when we got
You
color
got
TV.
spoiled more than I did.
Well, I
As
got
the
color
baby.
TV. When you guys got color TVs, I had to get one too. I wasn't even complaining, but and I remember Mom telling me that Kenneth and you were so upset because like we waited until here to get it, and he's
Yep.
getting it. He's like 10 years younger than us. I
Yep.
was like, well, sorry.
It's the way it
Remember we got
is.
Atari? That was the big one. Remember we got Atari and River Raid. Kenneth had the River Raid game. We also had our own games, but we all fought over River Raid because we wanted
Yep.
to play that one game. And
Yep.
that we used
I
to.
do.
I love those times. Looking back, I love those times.
Yeah, exactly. So nostalgia.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. I missed that time.
There you go. Well, that's
You
because now
guys
you're an adult and real life sucks.
Oh yeah, that's true.
What do
Well,
they
I
say?
also
When you're an adult, you can do whatever you want. And I saw it somewhere. That ain't true. When you're an adult, you can do whatever you can afford.
that is very true. I do have a question regarding Christmas gifts or birthday gifts. When did you get your BB gun? Was that a Christmas or birthday gift that you and Kenneth got BB guns?
I think it was Christmas. And I had
'Cause I
to
never
have.
got one. I was not cool enough to get one even when I got
I
older.
think I had to have been around 12 or 13.
And you traded that for a handgun BB gun, correct? You traded the rifle for a handgun or something
For a
like that?
pellet, yeah, for a pellet pistol, yeah.
Because I remember you shooting me with it, the
Yep.
handgun.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
hey, look, you opened my door. Hey,
Listen,
Brian, look what I got.
listen. We could do a whole podcast on all the shit I did as a kid. Between the
Dude.
fireworks, I used to go to the Beekmans and buy from Eddie,
Oh.
and then go down to the schoolyard and just shoot them off. And I mean, I still can't believe none of us ever blew our hands off because
I just remember you telling me the story. You used to go to what was it? Not the Wiz or whatever, the Tower Records in Sunvet Mall. You would buy a CD, come home, take it out, put a blank one in, and re-saran wrap it. And
no. We used to go to TSS and just literally just steal them.
oh, that's it. I thought you said you rewrapped
No,
it.
we would just steal them, dude. And then there was a computer game store in the Sunvet Mall, and I had a
Okay.
Commodore 64, and my buddies had a Commodore 64, and we would each go in there and steal a minimum of one game, if not two. We were bad. And then it got so bad, there was, I don't know if you remember, there was that sporting goods store in the Sunvet Mall where
Yes.
there was a guy that was like the manager, but he was a young kid and he was into music, and he would give us a list of cassette tapes that he wanted. We'd go down the TSS. We would steal all the cassette tapes he want. We'd bring them back to him, and then he would give us like hockey sticks and tape and all this hockey stuff that we wanted, and we would trade it in. Yeah, dude, I was bad.
You were a thug.
I
You
was
were a thug.
I was so bad. And mom, that's why I love telling mom some of these stories as we get now that I'm 50. I think the
Oh, I remember
statute
you
of
telling mom a story one time. You were at our house, at the house in Patchogue, and she was like, "Wait, what?" And
Yeah,
she
the
was like,
statute of limitations is long gone, thank God. But yeah, no, I was a thug. I was totally a teenage thug. I did my fair share. I thank God social media wasn't around when I was a kid and when I was in my teens and early 20s because I was a thug.
"Oh my god!" I mean, your kids are angels compared to the stuff you used to do.
Oh, no doubt. But I'm also smart because I also know how I got away with it, so they can't get away with it. They've
And that's the
tried.
good. And that's the fun thing. I literally did nothing as a kid to get myself in trouble. Nothing. I was just too scared. Even when we would visit dad, I was scared if I did anything wrong that he would yell at me. Like, so I never did anything. And you hear your stories, I had no clue about this stuff.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
everybody thought Kenneth was the bad one. No, 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 no,
no,
no,
it's
no, no,
Kenneth
no.
was the one who had friends that were bad.
Well,
And
Kenneth was the guy who went and drank in the woods, which everybody in Sayville did at the time. They all went to the woods and got drunk. So he would come home drunk a lot, smoke some weed. But I was the thug. I was the punk. I was the thief.
you were the
I
criminal.
used my brain for evil.
You were a criminal. You were a legitimate criminal.
Yep,
Criminal.
absolutely. This will not be posted in a short, just so you know.
Oh, this is gold. I love
Yeah, no,
this.
I'm not putting that out there because I was definitely a criminal in my teen years through probably until I met Marcy. Then I settled down a little bit. Once it
Wow.
became that I could go to real jail, no, thank you.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I wasn't doing that anymore. But yeah, no, as a teenager, you know who I hung out with. I won't mention them here, but you know who I hung out with. We had our
Oh, yeah.
moments, and
Oh, yeah.
then
But
me
you
and
know
that same
what?
person. What?
You know what I'll say is that people that had more trying childhood or tested the boundaries end up doing better, are better suited for certain positions in the world because they know what people are thinking that they're dealing with. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
Like,
no, I can instantly, and people have made fun of me. Even Marcy's made fun of me as a. I can go into a room and I can pretty accurate at picking out who the assholes are and who the shady people are. It's just a knack for me, and I get told, "Oh, you don't give people a chance." Nope, nope, nope. I can feel the vibes, and I know. I mean, when I was probably 16, 17, well, probably 17, 18, 19 when we really started to drink. If me and that particular person that I was best friends with then, I won't name him because it's not fair to him, we would go to parties and we got to a point where we would have to tell people ahead of time that we were assholes because he would always get us into a fight because he had a big chip on his shoulder, and we always ended up. I mean, that's the thing about today. Kids don't get into fights, man. I mean, I had plenty of fights all the way elementary school, all the way up.
no, no,
Even when I
no.
was in college, we used to go to clubs and we'd be dancing and some
I
idiot
think
would dance and we would push back on him. I didn't give a fuck. You gonna
I,
knock me out?
I
Knock me
will
out.
say
What's
this.
that?
I will say though, your perception of the youth today, I think it's different depending on the where you're growing up and where you are and the things like that. I think the fighting actually to me now with kids is a little bit more uh, dangerous when
Oh
it
yeah,
comes to it.
because it's weapons.
It's possible weapons. It's also the idea like if you and I were enemies or had a problem, it was a fair one on one
Yeah,
fight.
they
You
don't do that
weren't
anymore.
like your friends jumping in, and if you lost, you lost. That was it. You may have another fight later on with that person, but mostly you took your licks and you moved on, and you just
Yep.
moved on from it. So like that's the biggest change in my opinion is that people like oh I just if they lose like oh I gotta I can't look like a punk. And it's like, dude, take your licks. You lost. Okay, move on. It's like these things are not going to last forever. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well,
Mentality changes.
I just think in general, I think the biggest problem with society today is a lot of people hide behind their phones and their keyboards, and not enough people have the balls enough to say something that they'll say online to somebody's face because there's there's a consequence to it. And generally, it used to be it was you got knocked out or you got into a fight, and there wasn't no going to the. You weren't getting arrested or anything like that. You fought it out and you walked home. I mean, I remember as a kid, meet me outside after school on the playground. That's what it was.
Mhm.
Or during lunch, meet me by the swings. And you fought, and you didn't get suspended, or maybe you got detention or something stupid. But now, no. There's a lot of people that I've come in contact with over the years that their issue is they've never been actually punched in the face, and they really need to.
Yeah, well, I haven't had a fight since I was in middle school, so you know, I'm lucky. I find ways to avoid it. I don't see a purpose in it, and to me, half the time, most of the time that you are potentially in a fight, it's with the person you're never going to see in your life again. So who cares if you walk away? Most likely, you're never going to see that person again. And it means nothing. I think it's just that fear that like, oh, what others think of you, and that's why I do have a problem with social media because it does put it out there more permanently for a period of time. But
Yeah, it
that's
creates
my
more. Well, the thing that I found, like when I was saying before, is in college, we used to go to this specific club. I forget the name of it, and we would go and dance, and we'd be in like a circle, and there was always some idiot, big tough guy that would try to hit on the girls or push into our space. And I guess they were they were not used to getting stood up to. I found that 9 out of 10 times, if you turned around and you just went face to face with them and like, okay, let's go, they would be like, okay, this guy's crazy. I'm twice as big as him, and then so they would back off. Now, I was really good at figuring out who the true big freaking animals were, and I didn't push back on that guy because that guy will kick your ass.
And
But
to me, if you're a big guy and you're a guy that thinks you're a bad dude, my biggest fear is if I was you, you don't know about these smaller, scrappier guys that might be more trained in MMA or some type of
yep,
thing that can take you down. And just because I found that most people that are any type of well trained in some type of fighting martial arts thing, they're the calmest people. They're the people you would think are the weakest ones, but in actuality, they're the most kick ass people out there,
I
kind of
think
thing.
for me personally, a lot of people underestimate me. My what I'm willing to do. I'm never going to be a starter, but especially if it's somebody I care about. Yeah, there's a lot of times I have to hold myself back. There's an inner monster there somewhere that if it comes out, it's going to be real hard to put it back in.
I would agree. I think I have similar thing where
It's a childhood thing. It's the way we grew up, and it's some resentments and some issues that we all have inside of us. And if it gets released, that's a problem.
well, for me, I think it's one of the big things is I notice I when it comes to certain kind of pain, it doesn't really impact me. So the thing is I would not know when to stop
Yep.
in terms of whether or not I am physical because I don't feel the pain from playing football, whatever it
Yep.
is. You can punch me in the face, and if I'm angry enough, I'm never. It's not even going to register at first,
Yep.
kind of thing. That's what I always felt it was. I was like, it doesn't register at first until later on, and it hurts like hell. But
Yeah, but that's once the adrenaline wears off. So, but
all right,
anyway, all
brother.
right. So let's get back together here after Monday, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, and
Sounds good to me.
and then hopefully we'll be celebrating and not picking
Hopefully
apart
we
why
get
the
the
Jets
dubs.
lost.
Hopefully we get the dubs.
Yep. All right, with your gang sign, I like it.
That's not a gang sign. West Side W for dubs. Let's go. Come on, man.
Yeah. All right.
Big win, big win. Let's go.
Let's hope
Don't
so.
want field goals. We want touchdowns. Come on now.
You're a dork.
I am, and
So
I'm
am I,
proud.
but so am I. You
Oh,
just show it more than I do.
oh, I'm so proud of it. I make myself look like a fool, and I think that's what. If you show yourself to be a fool, most people are not going to bother you because they already think you're going to make fun of yourself. So what's the
Exactly.
point?
Well, honestly, that's what I do. People like I don't take insults personally.
Mhm.
I turn him around and go, yeah. So what? It's kind of like the Eminem thing where he goes at the very end in 8 Mile, and he says, "I just told you everything about me. Now what do you got to say?" Like I'm the one. My worst. I make fun of myself more than anybody else ever could have. So
Absolutely, and that's the way you can get out of most ways of having conflict or trouble is like if you can just learn not to care what people think, and
exactly.
maybe identify your weaknesses and identify your oddities and be proud of them, you'll be fine.
Words of wisdom from the Iken brothers. There it is.